Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the anime High Rise Invasion Season 1 on Netflix. And I really didn't enjoy this anime. The thing is, it's got an interesting kind of premise. Now, granted, it's your typical kind of death game scenario. As you learn throughout, all these people are chosen to pretty much become like God of this world, or our world. It's kind of a test world to like get to that kind of point. We see these people running around in mass that are angels, so they've got like heightened speed and everything like that. The happy ones are kind of tasked with pushing people to the brink of despair so that they will commit suicide. The angry slash saddish ones are like guardian angels that we find out, and then there's like these faceless ones which upgrade you to like a candidate closer to God. However, even though you've got that kind of premise, it is really kind of boring. The action doesn't really suck you in, and it's just violence for the sake of violence to a degree. Like, I didn't really get pulled into any of the characters. The strangest kind of bit in this is I didn't notice it until it got pretty much towards the end. It's pretty much just more interested in panty shots and shit more than anything. It's almost like that they were given the task of like they wanted to make like panty shot anime, and they just dressed it up with this kind of thing because they just happen so fucking frequently and are just used to kind of like frame shots and shit when it really isn't needed at all. I'm like, okay, could you put all this work and effort into the actual story? Huh? And since they're high school age, that doesn't jive with me. And granted, there's one that pretty much is a mother that we don't learn until later. But it's just like, no, okay. I don't mind dealing with high schoolers and them going kind of like sex crazy. But when you're doing it kind of like this, it's just you're doing it to be over the top, and there's just it's like style over substance, and there's like even not even really any style with it. It's just like, all right, because you see like masked people, angels attacking people, and this one chick's clothes get like, well, Yuri, the main character, pretty much gets her skirt ripped. She's pretty much sexually assaulted by a police officer person. And oddly, we just get showed weird shots of her kind of like naked at certain parts. It just doesn't add anything. And I'm just like, okay, this is kind of weird. So, she's the main character, Yuri, and she gets dropped in. She gets pretty much the lowdown from her brother, Rika, who hates his fucking name. And they pretty much got a brother-sister complex going on. It's just like every kind of weird, bad kind of tropey bit of an anime kind of thrown in with some kind of potential popping out. So she like loses her phone. She runs into this other chick that's like, "Hey, there's this helicopter that can like take you out of here." Spoiler alert, doesn't. I don't even know what it's actually used for, but there's only 12 episodes and it was still kind of boring. And I'm like, sweet Jesus, this is dragging on. But she at first doesn't want to team up with Yuri, but there's this masked sniper dude that like pops up that they kind of fight. They like throw a grenade that like kind of cracks his mask, and his shit is kind of interesting. Trying to figure out himself, fighting against the code, fighting to get his memories back, and he actually knows Yuri's brother Rika fought him and actually knew him from the previous world. And then we see that Mayu, the chick that pretty much was going for the helicopter, pretty much becomes in love with Yuri, and it's just all with the subtlety of a fucking sledgehammer. Do I mind that she's into Yuri? No, but do I have to be told about it every fucking time? Like, I got it. Like, there can be some subtlety with it. She doesn't have to keep saying all these kind of things. You could have her blush every so often and not act like a fucking tsundere all the time. God, man, it just got kind of like, right? It's just, there's subtler ways to do it, and just like saying, like, oh, I like you, pretty much. Like, she doesn't really say that completely out loud. to her, but you can pretty much see her almost pretty much screaming at Thought Bubble Wise all the fucking time. And when it's 12 episodes and you just pretty much see it every time she pops up, it's like, oh my god, I get it, I get it. There's better ways to kind of show that or whatnot. Like, same with Yuri and her brother. Oh my god. So they're pretty much trying to figure out what's going on with this world. Mayu pretty much almost gets killed by the chef dude. That's important because he's got a mask that's kind of like weird and wonky, and he's able to like do his own shit. And she needs to use that to pretty much become an angel to save Yuri's life. But then she kind of has to deal with trying to not become an angel and not kill herself, because if you lose the mask or the mask is destroyed, your code tells you to pretty much kill yourself. She needed to put it on to pretty much take out this other mask who was like super fast, so these masks also up your physical agility, strength, and all that kind of shit. Though granted, her fighting is more just like just cutting based. Also kind of similar to the chef. It's like, alright, cool. They meet some other people going around. We also get Rika kind of like doing his shit, finding other survivors, losing some people, fighting a pitcher dude with a bowling ball. What the fuck? And they start seeing kind of what's going on in the world, try to get back to each other and all that. Where are we going here? It's just really kind of weird. Barely. I know it's kind of strange to explain this, but once you start getting in the pattern, we're like, it just really wasn't that interesting. It's not bad. It's got really good ideas to kind of like hone in on, but it just doesn't execute it in a good way. And it executes it in a boring way, in my opinion, that just didn't grab me. Now, granted, if you like this, good for you. That's awesome. Enjoy it. This just didn't grab me. I'm just like, alright, all these characters are pretty much neutral to annoying me. I don't really care for the action, and the characters really don't get developed that well. Only one that does is a Sniper Mask, kind of learning his own kind of thing, trying to get his past, trying to figure out what to do. I'm like, alright, that's kind of cool. Now, granted, he is built as that kind of cool character to latch onto, so that's the main one that I can pretty much be like, alright, cool. So, Rika's pretty much trying to figure out what's going on. They start learning that there's these candidates closer to God. This one who's like, yeah, I'm gonna be a fucking asshole. And then Yuri just pretty much shits her way through it and be like, hey, fuck you, man. Because this other character, Kuon, pops up and has access to a railgun and is a candidate closer to God because Sniper Mask saw her is like, I'm gonna shoot you. But the Mask is like, nope, that's a candidate closer to God. Alright. Because evidently this world is trying to find a god, and they're kind of pitting all these people, candidate-wise, against each other like that. It's like, alright. And evidently there's a giant tower that's got a railgun in it that she could, like, take a picture and do some weird shit and just use it. Because she did it to pretty much stop the weird shit going on, and we see that this dude, this doctor dude, can, like, control angels as well. So it's like, alright, interesting powers. But they kind of like go on their way. He like comes back around eventually, but like Mayu starts getting into a position where she's going to hibernate and pretty much die because of the mask. So she tries to become a candidate closer to God because this one guardian angel's like, there's one over there. I know everything that's around this area. The helicopter doesn't do shit. There's no really rhyme or reason to like what makes a person closer to God, why you would need these masks to do that, how these powers and how this world kind of works. But the thing is, even though I'm usually a lore buff and into that kind of stuff, I don't even think that the story is even interested in that. So even I'm not really interested in that. I'm like, It's really kind of strange. It's not rare, but like when this kind of happens to me for a show or an anime, it's almost worse than like I can at least get something out of a really bad one. This, I'm just. You could be doing so much better, whichever kind of objective you're trying for, and you're just not doing it. It's just really fucking weird. Well, she's able to do it with her own, like, hijinks, and she gets more physical strength and all that, but it doesn't matter because Kuon popped up and was able to save Mayu herself, and they pretty much try and team up and try and figure out kind of what's going on, because we got this other dude, Ayakawa, that is able to control 30 angels, also kidnaps the brother and tries to get him to his side. But after pretty much unleashing this one super strong angel that Yuri is able to then control and seal, he pretty much uses a code because Rika's like, eat my ass, fuckboy. And fuckboy's like, alright. And then uses a phone to like code his ass to be like an angel or something. It was red code when we usually see green. But I had at this point towards the end of the series at the end of this season was like, I don't care. I know that they were trying to show Rika as this dude that's trying to like survive in this world, be like, just kill everybody, Yuri, and then it evolves because you get more information. It's like, no, actually try and like not be a dick. Whereas Aikawa was like, I'm going the pretty much eugenics. Stronger people should just tell the others to get fucked and like destroy the weak. It's like, right. Usually it's the weak people that kind of say that shit and try and do that shit, but all right. He's just typical kind of like asshole kind of thing. And the thing is, when you see it with a lot of assholes in this kind of situation, it kind of makes it pretty boring, because at that point everybody should either have like killed each other, or one person should have already been top dog to kind of like take out that kind of situation. You kind of need the assholes and the people try to keep it in a kind of better kind of route, even though usually I kind of root for those characters more, because that way lies you just fucking getting destroyed. But you see his kind of like view evolve as he starts getting more information, even though he's mainly just into the brother-sister complex of like, I must save my sister, and the sister's like, I must save my brother, and it makes him so goddamn uninteresting. And even having a sister, I'm like, sweet Jesus, I don't think of my sister all the time, and she doesn't think of me all the time like this. It's just really kind of weird. I'm like, okay, we don't have that problem, thank God. So when you go with that kind of like brother-sister complex in this, it's annoying when you've got one party doing it. It's fucking unbearable when you've got both of them being like, I will do whatever to get my brother and or sister. And then you see Yuri kind of have that kind of moral complexity and deciding to actually help the other people out and not be a complete dingus and just be like, I'm gonna run off and pretty much get myself fucked over. And the Ayakawa dude is trying to figure out how to take the helicopter to get into the giant tower kind of thing. There's just a lot of stuff that needed more explanation, and I'm not talking hand-holding. I'm talking like, okay, is there a way for them to learn what the rules are for becoming a stronger god candidate? Because we get this kind of like little AI motherfucker that pretty much just expedition dumps enough onto Yuri to be able to get us to a certain point to like get past a thing. And they could have done a lot better, or made it more interesting, or done anything at all with it. If I don't have that kind of information, or at least the mystery of learning that information and getting further on and getting more of the plot, I just kind of check out. I'm like, alright. So then I start going, okay, I don't know if this is how I kind of do it. It kind of depends upon the medium or what's going on in the show. But I usually look for like characters and plot pretty much are like the first two kind of things that I go for. It kind of depends. Sometimes the premise like this is kind of like the plot first. I'm like, okay, Death Game, let's see how this works out. I'm like, oh, it's just kind of a copy-paste kind of Death Game, and it's kind of just barely doing its own thing. Okay, how are the characters? Nobody latch on to, except maybe Sniper Mask, and even then, I'm kind of just like, I don't need to see everything to even get him. I'm like, alright. Then you get into action, and it's just, alright. It wasn't horribly done. It was competently done. You could kind of tell what was going on in every kind of scene, so that's good, but there was nothing to give it its own kind of flair. Like Dragon Ball, Gundam Wing, Yu Yu Hakusho, Outlaw Star, even like Seven Deadly Sins, My Hero Academia, all kind of like battle ones that you see a kind of unique flavor and style with how the action is presented and the flow of battles. That's not here. It's just like, okay, it's at least competently done and I can see what's going on, and that's about it. Animation also isn't horrible, but it's nothing that would make it stand out to me. It's almost on the edge of just being like, the CGI and at least the 2D kind of like work well enough together that they don't like uncanny valley the goddamn thing, but it just doesn't pull me in. I'm like, all right, kind of really bright for the outsides. Character designs don't do anything for me. That's it, because it really looks like you've almost cobbled together your cast from all different kinds of anime, kind of made it to kind of fit like one style, art style at least, but nothing that really makes me pop and be like able to like call out the characters actively, except for like the sniper mask dude, but that's because he's got a mask. He's in a black kind of suit and he's got a sniper rifle. So I really wouldn't recommend this, really anyone, even to have on in the background. It's bloody and has crazy ass kind of subject matter, so definitely kids, no. The characters really didn't interest me, so character development front, I wouldn't give this good. And of course, I talked about the action, so yeah. There's better out there, better Death Game ones out there too, so I would definitely look for those. That's what I'm going to be doing as well. So those are my opinions on the anime. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.